In Unbound 7, we provide for a centralized administration for creating and managing multiple sites across the product suite. Since all commerce sites also have web content management built in, the site creation process is initiated from within the content module. So if I hover over content at the top here, you'll notice under administration, site functions, we have the ability to manage sites. From this interface, you'll be presented with all of your existing sites, where you can find the appropriate site that you're looking for and go ahead and edit the site. So I'll search for one of my sites here. I'll see my site come up, and you'll notice that as I click on it, I have some actions at the top here. I can edit the site, delete the site. Under More, I can update the tracking code, so embed my Google Analytics tracking code or any other third-party tracking code to the site. I can move the site around in a hierarchy, or I can decide to synchronize the site with the master. From here, I'm just going to click on Add New Site, and you'll notice that we're presented with all the different properties for the new site. From here, I can define the site name, define the primary URL for the website, any additional URLs that need to resolve to the site as well. We have some settings for the relationship with the master site. So if we want to enable distribution, where any changes made at the master level can be distributed down to this child site, we can enable that. We can also allow for synchronization, so any changes that are made will automatically sync to this underlying site. And we also have the option to exclude it from sharing, so if we want to break it out and have it in its own world, disconnected from the master site, we can do that as well. To the right here, you'll notice that we have some settings. We have a time zone setting, external codes, if you want to have different codes that pertain to your site, you can do that. We also have a UI culture setting for defining the multilingual aspects as well as multi-currency. And below that, we have the ability to assign the administrators from the master site down to this variant site from a permissioning standpoint, or you can create a unique set of groups of users specifically for this variant site as well. Under this Import Options tab, you can have the new variant site that you're creating make reference to the master site. And you have the option to import menus and pages here. You can import them with just menus only, so the folder structure, also the pages as well. You can have them as a draft initially, or you can import it with the same page status as the master site. You also have the option to create the very same folder structure that the master site has in the local variant site libraries, but when you create the site, it's still going to make reference to the master site assets. So it allows you to leverage everything that the master site has, and then if you want to localize it, you can edit the content item and save as a different version inside the local libraries here. For those sites that have commerce enabled, the navigation categories and product data can be shared down to the variant sites as well. Next, under the Attributes tab here, you'll notice that we can configure your site level settings and values, basically key variables for things that differ from one site to the other. A good example is social URL, services, hours of operation, etc. All those things can be defined as site level attributes, and you can manage your own attributes here, add additional attributes. And again, these are the things that would differ from one site to the other across your implementation here. And finally, we have a Demographics tab. The demographics data can be managed here, and here's where you basically manage all the local information, the address information. These attributes and demographics can be embedded in your site as tokens to provide for the dynamic localization of content. So you can see all the location information is available here. So once you've created your site, you can go ahead and edit your site from the Manage Site interface here. You'll notice that we have an additional tab now for Seo Properties. So once the site gets created, it automatically generates the sitemap.xml. As I'm adding new pages and all that, that dynamically updates. I have the ability to regenerate it from here as well manually, in addition to managing my robots.txt file. So that is editable here. For sites, I can go ahead and apply tracking codes to the site, any third-party affiliate codes. We can embed codes from here by clicking on Add New Code, enter in the title for the code, so maybe Google Analytics, drop in your embed code right into this field, and determine whether or not you want it placed in the head, or the body start, or body end. We also have hierarchy built into our multi-site management here, so you can see that I have the ability of moving sites around our sites that we have set up in this environment here, and you can see that we can nest sites and have sub-sites within there. We have the concept of parent-child relationship, where any changes that are made at the parent level can be distributed down to the child sites as well here. And I can choose to move my sites around by clicking on More, Move Site, and determine where I want to move my site. The platform also allows you to segment your sites into site lists for distributed publishing purposes. So from the administration menu here, under the content module, you can see that we can manage site lists. So we'll select that, and from this interface you'll see any existing site list that you've already created, the total number of sites that fall underneath that list. I can also add a new site list here, and let's take, for instance, I want to include all sites that are within the United States. So if this is an international implementation, I'm going to create a segment of all the sites and filter down by that. You can see that we have different settings for only this site, make it available for all sites, available for child sites. So basically when we distribute down, push our changes down to all the sites within this list, or make this same list available to all the sites throughout the implementation, or all child sites underneath it. I also have the filters here for defining different geographical properties, so the location information, which we'll take a look at in a bit. We can also filter down based on different site attributes. So again, those are different variables that you can define. The things that differ from one site to the other, we can assign those as site attributes to each of the sites, and then filter down based on that. You can also have filters based on site groups or site hierarchy. Again, that parent-child relationship there, we can drill into that hierarchy and define where we want to filter down. So in this case, for all sites that belong to the United States, I'll just go through this simple example here. So you can see it refreshes and I'm able to select the country. I can say equals, and I'll select United States from the drop down here. Right, and now we should see the data refresh at the bottom, and you can see we have a total of 11 sites that are applied to the United States underneath the demographics tab that we have under our site settings. So that's how we can create site lists, and again, once you save this, it makes it available for distributed publishing when you're making changes at that master level. If you want to push those same changes down to the underlying children's sites, you can utilize your site list for that. So now I'm back in Commerce here, and I want to take a look at the product catalog and show you how we can share products down to the variants. So I'm within my master site here, and you'll notice that I have a whole series of different products, 113 products in total. I go ahead into one of these products, and you'll notice that we have a little setting on the right hand side here to share this product with the child sites. So you want to make sure that once you have your master set up, if you do want to leverage all those same products and make them available to the variant sites for multilingual purposes, for example, you want to make sure you have this setting on all of your products. You can, of course, handle all that as part of your bulk import to define this setting and make sure that they're all shared. Once that's set up, we can go ahead into the underlying variant site to manage the products that are specific to that location. So now I'm in my Spain variant site here, and you'll notice that we only have 13 products that I've shared. And if I go in here, you'll see that I already translated this one product. So this is that same product that we're looking at on the master site that basically had translated here. So I'll go in and edit that product so you can see what I've done. So for each of the fields that are available here, I went ahead and translated them. And you'll notice here we have a couple of links above each field at the variant level that lets us handle the translation. If I click on details here, I can see what the value was on the parent side. So our master site has the Hanes men's pullover Echo Smart fleece hooded sweatshirt. That was the initial master value, and we went ahead and we translated it using the inbuilt translation here. So to translate each of the fields is a quick little link that'll help you translate. I can also revert back to the master, so it brings me back to the English. If I click on translate, it's going to take that value, pass it to the Bing Translation API, and return it back real time for that specific field. So you can basically go through that process for each field within the product details here, the SKU level details as well. We can also handle that all in bulk through the bulk import process. So if you did want to override all your parent properties here and define the value specific to the local variant site, we can handle that through the bulk import process as well. And finally, I just wanted to touch on at the variant level here for the different configurations under administration. All the different store settings are specific to the variant, right? So you can have variant specific warehouses, emails can be specific to the variant, all the shipping and payment methods, taxation, etc. Even the developer configurations, all these can be settings specific to that variant site. So it really allows you to have an international implementation that may have differences from one site to the other for handling taxation and currency and fulfillment. Your ERP platform could potentially be different across the globe. So we allow you to be able to configure that at that variant level. So that pretty much wraps up the concept of our commerce variants here. I hope you found this video informative. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to reach out to us at product@bridgeline.com or through your account manager. So thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more educational videos on the Bridgeline Unbound platform.